Hey guys, if this is your first time to my channel, hello and welcome. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Emily and today we are going to be busting out the crystal ball again because I am going to be predicting some more palettes. Hello my friends, while watching this you might notice that my voice sounds a little bit scratchy, and that is because I am starting to get sick and my voice kind of sounds like a cat scratched my throat. So I do apologize and I hope it's not too unbearable. But without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into the video. So I really didn't think that I would be filming another one of these so soon because we haven't really seen a whole lot of the classic black and white photo of the sneak peeks of the new palettes that are coming out that brands love to tease us with. And we haven't really seen any palettes that are coming out soon or makeup products in general that we don't already have an image of. With that being said, I was watching one of Jen Love's reviews, older videos about things she wants to see from makeup brands. And not only was I inspired to do a video like that, which will probably be coming up soon, but she was talking about how apparently a while ago Jerrod from TooFaced had posted a picture of a champagne glass with some strawberries in it and said, coming soon, or maybe this is coming, or I don't know. You know what Jerrod does. He loves to sneak peek things a freaking year in advance and really get our anticipation and hopes up and then just drop an entire collection on us. So I got really inspired really fast from seeing this post and I got to working and I have created what I think is an amazing collection. And I am titling this the Strawberries and Champagne collection, although I don't know if that's necessarily the best name for this collection anymore because it got a little bit more colorful and a little bit more out there than I feel like Jerrod would go. So, since this became a lot more colorful and out there than I feel like a Strawberries and Champagne collection would be, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a second title here and call it the Strawberry Fields Forever collection. Strawberry Fields. I know, it's corny as all hell. I love that song, a lot of people know that song, and I think it's a cute name for this collection, especially because it's more so based on the strawberry aspect. There is just a very small hint of the champagne aspect in the collection that I created. We got a little crazy, but with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and get right on into what I created. So as I was saying, this whole idea basically just comes from one photo that Jerrod posted. And it's not saying that there's going to be a palette or a collection or anything for that matter, but we all know TooFaced and how they love to just give us little tiny ideas and sneak peeks of what might be coming. That's what they did with the Peach collection, that's what they did with the Peach Collection Volume 2. And Peach Collection Volume 3. And I think that following with the fruit theme is a really cute idea, and what is better than strawberries and champagne? I think that is the cutest idea. So I'm sure that there's going to be a palette, I'm sure that there's going to be some lip glosses, and maybe even some blushes, and maybe even a highlighter. But I went ahead and put together a palette and 3 blushes for 3 different skin tones. So first things first, I'm going to go ahead and start off with the palette that I have created. And if you see me looking down, I'm looking at a picture of it because my memory is not exactly the best. So the first shadow that I decided to put in this palette is a very kind of basic TooFaced shade. This is a light milky pink. It reminds me of Strawberry Bonbon, which is a classic shade from TooFaced. This is a little bit deeper because I feel like Strawberry Bonbon and some of these lighter, more washed out milky pinks won't really show up on deeper complexions. So I wanted to make it just a touch deeper and probably a bit brighter as well to really show up on different complexions. The next shade that I wanted to put in that I feel like would represent the Strawberries and Champagne aspect of this palette is a kind of salmon-y pinky duochrome shade that will shift to a light champagne gold shade. So if you look at a picture of Strawberries and Champagne in the actual flute glass itself, it's a bit more red toned than I would typically think of. I think my mind immediately goes to like rosé or pink champagne, but that's different than Strawberries and Champagne. So I wanted to keep the shade a bit deeper, a bit more warm toned, because that seems to be what the actual drink Strawberries and Champagne looks like. The next shade that I wanted to add in is a really bright metallic warm lilac. Now there's a lot of warm pinks in this palette. Obviously it's a strawberry palette, but I wanted to add in something that would kind of offset that a little bit, that I feel like would still go with the pink shades and some of the red shades, and I decided to opt out for a light purple because I feel like that just goes really well with some of these shades, but it's still kind of a standout shade in the palette because we don't want to have just a bunch of different variations of pink. Now there's a lot of variations of pink in here, don't get me wrong, but I wanted to put something in that was going to stray from that a little bit while still working with the rest of the colors. Does that make sense? I don't know. The next shade that I wanted to pop into the palette is a medium toned matte warm pink. Now I really think of warm pinks when I think of strawberries. I wanted to put a shade in here that would work as a nice transition shade, or even a mid-toned crease shade that would go along with the rest of the reds and the more strawberry shades. So I feel like putting in a mid-toned warmed pink would be perfect for that because it would be a nice transitioning color into some of the deeper tones. So moving right along to the second row here, I put in a duochrome shade and I wanted to put in a strawberry pink metallic. So it's kind of like a pink magenta metallic shade, and then I wanted it to shift to a lime green. I know that might sound totally absurd to some of you, especially if you're not into super colorful makeup, but what color is a strawberry? We have reddish pink and then we have green. And I really wanted a shade in here that would capture both the shades of the strawberry and basically combine them into one. And I own a shade that's kind of similar to this. It's by Touch of Glam Beauty and it's called Sweet Nectar, and it's like a peachy pink that shifts to a duochrome lime color, and it's absolutely stunning. And I really do think that pinks and greens go perfectly fine together, and I think they go well together, especially for the spring and the up and coming summer. So I love this shade, and if one like this exists and I don't know about it, please leave it down below because I would love to have this shade in my collection if it exists out there somewhere. Next up in the second row, I put in a bright, hot pink matte. This shade to me is the definition of a strawberry. Now I know strawberries are red, but when I'm thinking strawberry, I'm thinking hot pink. I don't know why, but my mind, and I'm sure a lot of people's minds, go straight to hot magenta pink. And personally, I love these types of shades. These are some of my favorite types of shades to use, and to me it really does encapture the strawberry vibe. And I know that Too Faced has a lot of kind of more magenta shimmers and magenta glittery shades, but they don't seem to have a whole lot of pink mattes. So I feel like it would be very unique for Too Faced to come out with some of these different tones of deeper pink mattes. Also, shades like this work for literally any skin tone. The next shade that I added in is almost like a deeper variation of the hot pink shade that we just talked about. It's a little bit more warm and a little bit more deep, but I still wanted to have that sort of hot magenta vibe going on. I just wanted another shade to kind of layer in with the different tones of pink, and this is just a deeper version of the previous shade basically. And I personally freaking love shades like this, and like I was saying earlier, I've never seen Too Faced come out with something like this, and I feel like if they just stick to their really good chocolate bar formula, I feel like they could totally pull off shades like this, and I definitely think people would be interested, especially if you're going for a strawberry palette. You have to have some of these really bright strawberry pink shades. I mean, come on. It's a strawberry palette. We gotta go there with the color. The next shade that I wanted to add is more so of a hot red shade. Now it's not nearly as pink as the last two that I talked about, and this one is definitely a lot deeper in tone. And I wanted to put in just a true strawberry bright red matte because I feel like you can really use it as a crease shade, you can use it as a deepening shade, you can use it as an all over lid shade. To me, this is a really good multi-use shade because typically when I'm using shades like this, I can really sheer it out into my crease and almost use it as a transition shade, but you can really build up that pigment and get a nice bright red shade if you want to. That's kind of what I did today. I used a shade that's a bit deeper than the one that I have in my palette, but I basically just used that with like one other shade and sheared it out towards my crease and really built up and deepened that pigment in the outer V and in the inner crease. So I wanted to kind of show that today on my eyes. I think that you can use these types of shades any way you want, and you can really do a one eyeshadow look with shades like this. I mean, granted, you can honestly do a one eyeshadow look with any shade that you have in your collection, but I feel like shades like this kind of change in color depending on how you use them and where you place them and how much pigment you build up. So moving on to the final row. This row is a bit deeper than the rest of the palette thus far, and the first shade that I wanted to put in is a really bright foiled metallic berry red shade. And I want this to be a bit deeper than any of the other shades that we've seen in the palette so far. I picked this shade because I feel like this would be really beautiful smoked out with some of the brighter pinks, and then if you were to tap this deeper color onto the lid, it would give kind of a darker, more vampy, more smoky vibe. And obviously so far I've shown a lot of lighter pinks, and then we have that light purple, and then we have some of the more mid-toned pinks. So far everything has been pretty light and kind of airy and springy, and I wanted something to be in here that you could make a smokier, deeper look with, if that makes sense. And to me, when I'm going for a smoky look, I never ever reach for blacks or reach for deep browns or reach for taupes and the typical smoky eye colors. I love it on other people, but on me, I don't know what it is, but I look awful in just basic neutrals and smoky tones, and I look terrible with a basic smoky eye. Now, some people look freaking fantastic with a smoky eye, but I don't know what it is. I just don't. And girl, I wish I looked good in it, but I don't. So when I'm going for a smoky eye, I typically will choose a colorful shade that's a lot deeper in tone, because I feel like it still brings the smoky vibe, but it's a little bit different, a little bit unique. I love warm tones and brights, and I think it just matches my skin tone better. So I put a shade in the palette for people who are like me, who reach for some deeper colors when going for a smoky eye versus reaching for the basic neutrals that we all know. The next shade in the palette that I put in is kind of a complementary shade to the metallic deep berry that I was talking about, and this is just a matte deep strawberry red. It's not as bright as some of the other strawberry mattes that I put in so far. It's definitely a lot more deep and a lot more berry toned, but I did want to keep it more so on the red side versus on the purple side, because it is still a strawberry palette and strawberries are red. Obvious fact of the day. This shade would work as a really beautiful deepening crease outer V shade with some of the lighter pinks, and I think this shade would kind of universally work with all of the shades that we have going on in this palette. The second to last shade that I put in the palette is a matte, muted, kind of leafy green shade, if you will. It's not nearly as bright as a lime green, and it's definitely not a forest green. To me, this is like a leafy, natural green shade, but it's a bit more toned down and a little bit more dusty, if you will. It's not nearly as bright as a typical leaf green shade that we see. I wanted to put in a green shade that would really capture the vibes of the strawberry leaves. Now, when we see a strawberry, typically they always have the green leaves on them, so I had to put in some greens because I think it goes great with some of these reds, and if you're gonna go for a strawberry eye look, this would be perfect. I think you could create a bunch of fun, beautiful looks by combining some of the pinks with the green, and personally, if I had this palette right now, I would do a more pinky toned, kind of smokier eye up on the top lid, and then I would smoke out the green under the lower lash line, and I think it would be adorable, and it would look just like a strawberry. And the last shade that I put in the palette is a complementary shade to the matte, leafy, dusty green shade. This is basically the same type of shade, but in a metallic foiled form, and I feel like this would be absolutely beautiful paired with that green, but I also really do think this would look nice with some of the red tones and some of the pink tones. I think you could even pair this with the lilac shade that I put in earlier for a very colorful, fun look. And if I'm not mistaken, I do think that Too Faced has some metallic greens in their collection in some of their palettes, and from what I've heard, I think that the majority of them are actually pretty good. So I feel like this formula might be something that Too Faced could actually nail. I was also inspired to basically make a sort of mock-up design of what the palette would look like as well, I wanted to go for the same layout as the newer peach palettes that they've released. And one change that I made to that palette was that if you've ever used that palette before, when you close it, there's a little clasp that closes the palette together, and it's in the shape of a peach. I wanted to keep that same concept because I thought it was cute, but instead of the peach, I replaced it with a little golden strawberry. I also thought that putting a little strawberry mascot on the front, just like with the peach collection, would be adorable because I was one of the people who really liked that. I know not everyone was into it, but I thought that it was cute as hell. And I really like the little strawberry that I chose, but I think that it would fit right in with the theme that Too Faced has been going for. I also wanted to add in 3 blushes to this collection as well because I was actually a really big fan of the Too Faced Papa Don't Peach Blush. When that first came out, I used it all the time. I still have it in my collection. I rarely touch that blush nowadays, but when I first got it, I was literally obsessed with it. So I wanted to make 3 different blushes that I feel like would suit 3 different skin tones. The first blush that I put together is geared more so towards lighter skinned girls and boys, and I wanted the shade to be a light, warm baby pink, and I want the shade to be a matte, and I actually named all of these. So this shade would be named Pine Berries and Bubbly, because bubbly is obviously a type of champagne, or it's a nickname for champagne. Honestly, I don't really know, because I don't drink alcohol. And pine berries are a type of strawberry that are a lot lighter in tone, and they actually taste kind of like a mixture of pineapple and strawberry, so that's why they're called pine berries. So I felt like the name really suited this type of blush because it is such a light tone of blush. The second blush that I made is more so geared towards people with medium skin, but like I said earlier, anyone can use these blushes, no matter what skin tone you have. But for this blush, I wanted to bring back the old school Too Faced Funfetti design. Now, I don't know if you guys remember the Funfetti blushes, but I was never able to get my paws on those, and I regret it to this day because, oh my god, that is the cutest looking blush I've ever seen, and the color is really cute as well. So I basically just took the theme and the design of that blush and made it a bit more warmer and a bit deeper. So the shade that I created is a matte, mid-toned strawberry pink. As you can see, it's pretty warm, but it still has a lot of that pinkiness to it and still definitely resembles the strawberry color. And the last shade that I wanted to put in is a blush that I wanted to be geared more so towards a deeper skin. This shade is a shimmery blush, and I wanted it to be a deep red strawberry shade. I wanted it to really represent the strawberry shade, and I wanted it to have a gold sheen running throughout the blush to really represent the champagne tone as well. And that shade would be called Fraise and Chardonnay. And I believe that fraise is French for strawberry, but honestly I could be saying it completely wrong. So if I am, please inform me and correct me. So obviously, I really doubt that Too Faced is going to come out with something this bright and this colorful if they were to come out with that Strawberries and Champagne collection. And honestly, they probably are going to come out with the collection, but it will probably be a lot more light toned, a lot more neutral and calmed down, but there will probably still be some pops of pink and red throughout whatever they put in the collection. But I really wanted to just amp it up a little bit because I'm sure that if you are familiar with my channel, you know that I absolutely love and die for color. The whole idea of this series is just for fun. It's just for me to make up these palettes that I would personally buy, and if it's not your vibe, that's a-okay because not everyone is into super bright colors. But personally for me, I would buy this palette. And if anything like this exists on the market, please let me know because I am dying to get my hands on some of these shades. I don't even know if they exist in real life, but I would love to have some of these shades, especially that duochrome pink to green, because once I created that, it got me really wondering if something like that actually exists on the market. But this video was just for fun, and I really do hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you consider subscribing if you have not already. I have all sorts of makeup goodness happening on this channel, and if you are not already subscribed and you would like to be, I would love to see you hit that button down below. I hope you are having an absolutely amazing day wherever you are, and thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you next time. Bye!